Hi guys, it's Ollie from Rad Season. Welcome to the Rad Season show. I'm super stoked to be joined today by the Chief Marketing Officer of Braille Skateboarding, Jeremy Vest. Jeremy,
Hey,
how are
thanks
you,
for
man?
having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Whereabouts are you at the moment?
I am in Chattanooga, Tennessee, up on the mountain.
Nice. And how's everything going over there?
It's going well. It's getting cold, but it's going well.
And is there snow near there? Can you kind of go? You can get out on the mountains and
Yeah, not yet, but in the next few weeks, there'll probably be snow up here.
okay. And have you been skating much? I can see all
Yeah,
the decks behind
I have
you.
a greenhouse with a half pipe in it, so I
Oh,
skate
sick.
every day. Still, rain or snow or anything, I still skate.
Nice. How big's the half pipe?
It's 2.5 tall and 12 wide.
Okay. Awesome, man.
I'm old,
Cool.
so I don't want to get hurt too bad.
No, I did see some footage of you dropping in on a full pipe. I don't know if that was like if that was
That
last
was
year or
terrifying. No, it's earlier this year. I dropped in
okay.
on the Braille vert ramp. That it took me 2.5 hours to get the courage to drop in. It's scary, man. When you're 45 years old, like 12 feet is pretty crazy.
Yeah. Funny, man. And I mean, I guess that gonna like I'd love to kind of go back to where it all began and like how you got into skating and yeah, like how did you start? Where did you pick it up?
Yeah, so my dad was stationed in Germany in the 80s.
Okay.
So in 1986, we were in Germany on an Air Force base, and there was next to my apartment complex there was a like tennis courts that they converted to a skate park. The Air Force did that for the kids.
Okay.
So I saw kids like going over launch ramps and stuff every day, and I was like, I got to do that. So that's how I got started back in the 80s.
Nice. And like how long did you guys stay in Germany for?
It was 4 years.
Okay.
So yeah.
And were you kind of like after seeing them and after like getting into it, were you just getting out every day and trying to skate as much as you could?
Definitely. It's funny though, as a kid, I really wasn't that good. I didn't have a lot of self-confidence and, understanding of my feet and stuff. And plus back then the boards were so heavy and big,
Yeah.
you had to almost be exceptional to be good back then.
Yeah. And was there a crew of you? Was there a few of you doing it?
There's just a few of us, but like any skate park in modern times, there's the little factions and cliques.
Yeah. Nice. And then where did you guys go afterwards? Did you then move to the States?
Yeah, I moved
straight after
to
that?
Fort Walton Beach, Florida. It's so the skate shop over there is called Plus. So I grew up around some more pros and some better skaters, and that's really where I got a little more serious in skating.
Okay. And then like was that sort of like because of the scene, you reckon? That was kind of just sort of one of
Yeah,
the
I mean,
reasons
I always liked it, but just people are a little better, more better in Florida, to be honest with you. And then I took like a 20-year break, and then as a dad, I picked it back up about 6 or 7 years ago. And honestly, I was horrible. Like I couldn't even drop in, and now I'm not like for a dad, I'm okay. I'm obviously not good compared to all the pros I get to be around, but it's so fun. I skate every day, and it's a blast. I'm way better now than I was when I was a kid.
Nice. And why did you stop? I used to skate growing up over in London, and then sort of a similar thing. I like stopped, and then my son's now 4, and kind of like take him to the skate park, and I'm going way more than I have done over the last 20 years. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I think for me, it was just getting serious about my career and kind of forgetting who I was. I think that's what happens in your like 20s. A lot of people kind of forget who they are because they have to go make a living and figure out life. And in the 30s, they start kind of remembering who they are, and I mean, this story happens hundreds of times. I mean, I've literally had this conversation with hundreds of people that did the same thing. They quit and came back a little bit older.
Yeah. And what did you focus on, like when you were sort of like, was that like late teens, early 20s? Like when you were like looking at your career, going, what am I going to do? And
yeah, and I started going to school to be a horticulturalist and botanist.
Okay.
And then I realized pretty quickly there was really no money into it. So then I got into, I've been in digital only marketing since 1998. So I've basically been doing digital marketing. Like I never have done traditional marketing my entire career. I was like one of the first, web designers and digital marketers.
Yeah.
Because before then, there really wasn't the internet or anything like that. So yeah, I've been doing specifically digital marketing since 1998. I started in web design, then I went into like art direction. And then from there, I went into SEO. And then from there, I started going into video how-to tutorials. I had a lynda.com type competitive company called Xtrain, and we did online training tutorials.
Right.
And from there, that's how I really started getting into YouTube. About 2006, 2007, I was doing tutorials. We created 30 hours of training for Adobe and helped create Adobe Television back in 2007, 2008. So I started saying, okay, I want to teach a whole lot more people how to do like Photoshop and stuff like that. And how do I do that? And then this little thing called YouTube had just come out. And then from that point, I went all in on YouTube. And my customers have over 12 billion views now, all organic views.
Wow. And like when it first came out, did you think anything of it? You were like, okay, or did you kind of have a hunch that you thought like, okay, this could,
I had
this
an
could take
epiphany
off?
for sure. Like I didn't know if it's going to be YouTube or another platform, but I realized very quickly that was also around the time when the iPhone came out. Okay. So I realized really quickly that video was going to be the future of social media and SEO. I actually, even back then, I kind of had that realization. I started writing for Real SEO, which is was at the time the only like video marketing magazine in the world. So yeah, even back way back then, 2006 to 2008, I was fully convinced of the power of video.
Yeah. And do you reckon like kind of learning all the other aspects of digital marketing, that sort of, well, I mean, it like would have certainly helped before that kind of, getting into video marketing. So like looking at SEO and design and everything like that, right?
Yeah, I think, learning how to learn this stuff is really important. So when someone like me goes into a new platform like TikTok, we're really far ahead in a lot of ways, right? Because we just understand audiences and the storytelling and, and then we can just fit things quicker. So for me, it's about adapting quick and failing fast. And yeah, like I'm not stuck. I mean, I'm very good at YouTube, obviously, but I'm not stuck on it. I'm like, bring it on. Whatever happens next, whatever the next TikTok is, I'm ready, and I think that mentality is very important. And I think my biggest strength is being able to learn quickly. And, things change every day. Like people are making money on Instagram Reels in the last few weeks through these things called bonuses. And that didn't happen 3 weeks before now. So like things literally change every day. And you're either a fixed mindset where you think it's going to be one way, or you're more of a flexible mindset and you just roll with it. And I think skaters are very good to adapt like that. And they just kind of roll with the punches better. So a lot of the best digital marketers and video marketers that I know are actually like action sports people.
And do you reckon that's kind of like the trial and fail mentality, right? That just, you see, I mean, especially in skating, like,
I mean, you just get back up. You just keep on getting back up. And I think like why skateboarders make such good YouTubers in a lot of ways and TikTokers is because they fail and get back up. They just won't quit. It's the tenaciousness of what they do.
And when did you like, I guess the journey of kind of like taking skating and then that becoming part of your job and your career, sort of like, like taking that passion, that hobby from when you were a kid and then like currently working with Braille, how did that all begin? Like when?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. So I started reskating about 7 years ago. Sorry if you hear peacocks. I have peacocks in the background. Anyways, about 7 years ago I started skating again, and then I've been pretty big in the YouTube scene, right? Like I speak all over the world, VidCon and all these events. And I was a huge like actual fan of Braille. I wasn't like, didn't know them or anything. I had went to the other two biggest skate companies in the world and like pitched myself and, introduced them. And I had decided about 3 years ago, or maybe even 4 years ago, I had decided that I was going to work in skateboarding. Now, one thing I realized is there's not any money in skateboarding, right? And also a lot of these companies are kind of dinosaurs, man. They've been doing pressing the same boards for 40 years and have the same business model for 40 years. So I quickly started seeing a lot of cracks in the financial sides of skateboarding. I'm just going to be real with you. Like I was like, I have a family, I have 2 daughters and a wife. Like I ain't trying to get into a broke industry. Yeah. So about 3 years ago, I was speaking at VidCon, and Aaron Kyro and the current CEO, Devin, they came up to me and they're like, hey, a lot of people told us to meet you. And I tried to play cool, like I wasn't a fan. I was like, oh yeah, what's your name? I don't even know who you are, but yeah. And we really hit it off, being a skater and knowing YouTube as well as I do. I was actually the chief evangelist of the largest third-party YouTube software company in the world at the time. So I was, very, very big into the YouTube side of the world when they met me. So I started doing some free consulting for them, just giving them some ideas and tips. And those things did very well. So then I decided to kind of get out of the corporate world. The company
was that tips just on YouTube and kind of like because Aaron was doing his own videos, right? And
yeah, I mean it was tips on everything, but mostly about branding and digital marketing things. So like the B here, for example, the size of it, like just very specific things to help the entire company move forward. Yeah. And they listened to me and the stuff started working. And then a few months, maybe like, I don't know, a year later, I just called them up one day and I was like, this is when I'm starting. This is my salary. And they're just like, yes, sir. Because I had proved myself. And that's a lot of people don't realize when you're going to invent a new job or you're going to go work for someone, you really have to, for one, know what you're doing and be the best. And two, actually give true value and make sure like there's a relationship. I literally could probably, and I'm not bragging, go work for 5 or 6 different companies, people right now, if I wanted to. I mean, I love Braille, I'm not going to, but the reason is because of true building relationships. It's like, I could call people up on the phone in skateboarding and, and for some reason, I think people just don't understand, like it's, first, you have to visualize what you want, and then you have to go after it. It's super hard. It took me a year to get this job, and I had to invent this job. And then I had to help the company generate enough revenue to hire me. I know that sounds pretty conceited, but that's what happened. It's pretty crazy.
And was that kind of then what just like generating the audience and kind of then from there, then converting and then transferring that over to...
I mean, we've been big for a minute, right? That was only 3 years ago. I mean, we are already at like almost 5 million subscribers back then on our main channel. So we are already big. I think it just helped from a revenue perspective, just, tie things together. For example, these 4 boards behind me here, we didn't even, before I got here, we didn't even make our own skateboards. We just used Revive skateboards. So there's just a lot of things that we kind of all came together and we're like, okay, how do we make this from a YouTube channel into one of the fastest growing skateboard companies in the world? And that's really where we like all came together, and that's what we decided to do.
Nice. And I mean, having that history and kind of being pretty heavily involved within YouTube and within video marketing. I mean, you were running your own like video marketing conference at the time, and then helping brands and influencers. And like, how was that? I mean, was that within like the industry when you were kind of looking at brands before Braille, or were you kind of, was that sort of separate? And
yeah, it's just separate. I mean, honestly, I really didn't start getting into like thinking about being in the skate industry until about 3 years ago. The conference is 5 years old. I did sell it. I did go a few weeks back when it was, and congratulated the new owners and everything, and it's doing very well. But yeah, it's just video marketing in general, from TikTok to YouTube, from plumbers to you name it. And the skateboard companies were there too. Nice.
And where do you kind of see, I mean, I guess now with your role and like, with you saying that was something that you developed for yourself, you were kind of looking at this going, okay, I'm going to go into the industry. I mean, where do you sort of see skateboarding going from, I mean, I guess everything that's happening at the moment, and sort of the Olympics for one, and then, the pandemic obviously has definitely increased popularity. And what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think skateboarding is growing. Our entire mission is to help grow skateboarding across the world, and I think we do a good job. A lot of people are like, oh man, those Braille guys, those are posers, and like, but what they don't realize is we purposely, intentfully entertain and teach people how to skateboard, so they'll get on the skateboard for the first time. They will go to the skate park for the first time. I was talking to Andrew Cannon, from the brand manager for Santa Cruz Skateboards, and the VP of NHS, and they were like, thank you, you guys graduate people to becoming skateboarders, and then they come and buy our brand. I mean, go to a skate park anywhere in America or the UK right now and ask someone at the park had watched a tutorial on how to skate from Aaron Kyro or Braille Skateboarding. And it's pretty interesting. So we're purposely dorky, and we're purposely like PG-13 so that people like learn about skateboarding and they buy their first board. We sell a lot of $79 to $99 skateboards to get people into that industry. We're also just came out with a skateboard at Walmart for like $50, and it is insanely awesome. For a $50 skateboard, it's ABS 7 bearings, it's real wheels, it's a 7-ply maple. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm 200 pounds. I would probably snap this thing in half, in a week. But for your first skateboard, I mean, if you've ever had a big box store skateboard, they are pieces of crap. Like you cannot even do anything on it. You can do a tray flip or go down a 5-stair on this board easily. So our dream is to just get more people into skateboarding. We think it's a phenomenal individual activity for health and mentality. A lot of people, over 30 skate because they're so stressed out. It's their reason to like stay sane during the day. So that's really our vision. I mean, as far as like what's going to happen, I think the people that really embrace social media are going to win. It would not shock me 20 years from now if Braille was as big of a household name as Powell Peralta or Santa Cruz. It just wouldn't, because we reach so many eyeballs, and these kids are growing up and buying boards from us. Now, the hardcore skaters, a lot of them hate us, and we are so cool with that. Like, whatever, we're not trying to be cool. We're trying to get people involved in skateboarding.
Yeah. I mean, I remember like growing up as a kid skating, if you wanted to find out something, or like you're going to go down to your skateboard shop and try and get the latest video that's come out, or you'll be waiting a month to get the magazine, whether it's Thrasher, or I was in the UK, so like Sidewalk and Kingpin and stuff, and that was it before the internet.
Yeah,
and there was no, like,
411. If you remember
if you're taking
that.
photos, you're waiting for you're just waiting to get them developed, you know, and like that sort of stuff. And yeah, now that it's kind of that it's instant and it's so quick and it's on, you know, it's on social like straight away. Like, I mean, that must have obviously and will still have that impact of just getting more kids involved and just it will help all the brands, right, and grow them.
Yeah, no doubt. You know, back in the 80s, I feel like Stacy Peralta almost single-handedly created like the YouTube style in a lot of ways with public domain and, you know, all of these. I have the signed poster right here from all the guys. Bones Brigade, my favorite, honestly, my favorite aspect of skateboarding of all time is public domain, Bones Brigade. If you think about it, I'm probably going to piss some people off here, but if you think about it, Tony Hawk used to get spit on because he was the dork. All these guys were like the PG-13 of skateboarding. They didn't do much wrong, you know, and then you had like Christian Hosoi and some of these other guys that were like gnarlier and cooler and, you know, more punk rock. And these guys were like the, you know, they were just the clean cut
nerds of skateboarding
version.
Right?
Yeah, nerds of skateboarding. So in a lot of ways, I mean, I'm not comparing the two by any means, but I do feel like that if you really study the history of how skateboarding videos happened and what Stacy Peralta was able to do with a lot of these videos that he produced, looking back at some of them now, they're so cheesy, but they worked. You know, they got Search for Animal Chin. My gosh, I cannot watch 10 seconds of that video anymore. But back in, you know, the 80s, that was the coolest thing I'd ever seen in my life. So my point is, I feel like they did actually set a precedent for us and acceptance. And, you know, we are dorks. We're not Tony Hawk. And why are we 3, 4, 5 times bigger than the biggest skate brands in the world on social media, you know, and some of the platforms? And it's because you can kickflip. You can learn how to do this. Not many people can do what Nigel Houston does, you know, but I think we're approachable and we're not just making skate parts. I think where a lot of the industry is stuck back in I call it the Black Ages or the dinosaur ages, is they assume people just want to watch skate parts. And they are insanely wrong. They are just unbelievably wrong about that. Now, the core skaters are more about skate parts, but what percentage of the 12 million people-ish that skateboard around the world are core skaters? 1% of those? Maybe 5%? Out of our audience of 6 million people or almost 6 million people on one channel, 60% of those people cannot even ollie. You know, wow. So like most skaters,
so they would be like literally just getting into it, and
most skaters, like 90+% of skaters, aren't what we consider like, you know, they're not going to go do a tray flip. And that's where I think most of the industry's got it wrong. They're just literally focused on that couple of percent of people that are hardcore.
Yeah. So that niche within a niche, right? And kind of.
And don't get me wrong, I love a lot of these brands. I love a lot of the companies, and I am a hardcore skater in a lot of ways. Like, you know, I've been skating since 1986. I get it. But we just, you know, Aaron's vision is to be positive, be a positive light in a dark world, you know, and I think we're doing a good job with spreading the message of skateboarding.
Yeah. And because it's fun, right? And that's what it should be. It shouldn't be like about this whole, you know, you got to look a certain way, you got to be cool, or you got to do this. I think,
and I think the reason we have scooter people and stuff on our channel all the time is because of that. Like, we just are spitting in the face of the what you're supposed to do in skateboarding.
Yeah.
And all of our entire team, they're super down. They get what we're doing. And honestly, a lot of the core skaters are on our channel all the time. Andy Mack, we have Jaws, like Andy Anderson was there a couple of days ago. I mean, some of the best skaters in the world love us and hang out with us. So they are core and they get what we're doing. So it's not the whole industry, but it is interesting that the core industry is starting to get it. They may not like us, but they're starting to see our role in this.
Mm-hmm. And what are you guys focusing on now? What, like, didn't you just bring up the app? That was that last year that came out?
Yeah. So our app just turned a year old. Today or tomorrow, we're going to hit 200,000 installs of our app. Nice. So it's pretty awesome. So we have an app and a membership called Braille Army Plus, where it's kind of like the Netflix, if you will, of skateboarding. Okay. We're making all kinds of shows. In a couple of weeks, I'm going to go film a show called Vert Dogs, and Andy Mack and all kinds of amazing vert skaters are going to come do games of skate on a vert ramp. I've never actually seen that before. It's going to be really exciting. Cool. So we're making a lot of exclusive content. We're doing all of our Skateboarding Made Simple volumes. Mm-hmm. Basically the best-selling how to skateboard is all up on the app. So it's really, really neat, and we're growing fast. So we're going to just really focus on getting a whole lot of members, and it's very inexpensive to our app. It's just a good way to diversify, everything we do. We have our own shoe line now. That's a very, very, very nice shoe. It's pretty surprising. More people have feet than skateboards. So, from a diversification perspective, if you look at where the money is in skateboarding, shoes have done quite well for a lot of brands. Mm-hmm. So diversifying risk there, have our shoe. We have our mobile video game, which is doing extremely well. Skate Video Tycoon is the name of it.
Okay.
And we launched our new website last year with more enterprise level stuff, so we can. So yeah, we have our toy line in Walmart, Target, and Amazon. It's insane, like how much we've done in the last couple of years to really bring our brand up from a YouTube channel to like a brand. Yeah. We're in Zoomies, we're doing quite well on Amazon. So I think what we're going to do for the next couple of years is kind of go back to our main focus, which is teaching people how to skateboard.
Right. Okay.
And just really hone in that learn to skateboard, get on a skateboard. It's time to learn how to skateboard. And I think we're just going to kind of scale back a little bit and just really focus in on our mission, and all the other things happening are super awesome. Our Walmart board's going to be in stores soon. And it's just amazing. It's just super amazing, like all the stuff we're able to do. And don't get me wrong, a lot of people have tried to make a good skateboard in a big box store, but I think we've done it, and it's affordable, and it's going to be interesting to see how many kids get that skateboard this year and become real skaters 2 years from now, and go buy a Baker or a Cool board.
How did you guys decide what to diversify into from going from the YouTube channel, and then, like you said, like last couple of years, you kind of been doing all these different projects and different things. How do you kind of juggle all those aspects? Do you kind of, look at the industry, or like look at different markets and think, okay, like, this has worked here?
The biggest thing I'm going to say is Aaron Kyro and Devin, our CEO, they're very intelligent. And I think what we do for the most part is we just look at risk, mm-hmm. like, money, like how much is it going to cost, and time. And time is probably first. It's like, how long is it going to take us? So what we've done is we've brought in strategic partners for, working directly with the company that makes and designs the shoe for us, mm-hmm. And outsources that. Working with a team for our entire line of fingerboards, working with a team called Sessions Games for our game. Yep. So I think what we're doing is we're a pretty small company, like a little over 20 of us. So I think it's just being very strategic and knowing what we can and cannot handle, and then really getting back to the roots, which is content creation, and having other teams focus on the things we know. Like, we're not experts at apps, right? Like, we're learning to be, but we hired a guy that's really good at app development and is kind of taking that up for us. So all in all, I think it's as a small company, as a skateboard brand, it's about just knowing what you can handle from a mental, physical, and time perspective.
And then bringing on the right sort of partners and people to help out, right?
Like best in the world at minimum. Because if you don't, like, you're only going to get one chance at an app or a video game. You know, you're not going to get a second chance ever.
Yeah. And now, like, I guess sort of focusing on content, like, what do you think's been your success on video marketing, sort of going back, you know, to those early days of YouTube to now? I mean, why have you kind of seen it work? Have you sort of looked at, you know, if you sort of taken design or taken kind of research, storytelling, all those kind of things, and sort of combine them all, or like what have you done?
Yeah, I think for the most part, I mean, it's a lot easier than people think it is, right? Yeah. So from day one, I've been really focused and writing about thumbnails and clickability. Okay. So I'm just going to say it's about three things now for any type of video content. It's about the clickability, like the titles and thumbnails. It's about the watchability. So how long people watch your content on TikTok. It's how many people rewatch it. So it's about making videos that loop, you know, that people keep on rewatching it. And then likability, how many people like, share, dislike, comment. So clickability, watchability, and likability. If you make a thumbnail, and you probably have seen our thumbnails, they're insane. Like I mean, I used to work at a data company, so we have a lot of science and research behind what we do. Yeah. We create entertaining and educating, you know, content that people watch for longer than other skateboard channels, because if it's a part, you know, you're not like emotionally invested, or you're not going to see what happens next type of thing. So the storytelling aspect is insanely huge and something we're always working on. And then from a likability perspective, you know, ask questions to your audience and make it about them and not you. And, you know, for Procter & Gamble and all the big brands, I've done this for Gillette, you know, all these big companies. That was the ingredients, was make it personal, make it clickable, watchable, like actual content people want to consume, and give a reason for people to talk about it. Yeah. Share it, like it.
And kind of like, I mean, I guess with you guys, it's being entertaining as well as informative, right? So
yeah,
kind of
the first 5 years we got to 500,000 subscribers. It was just really how-to videos and skate parts. And then Aaron and Gabe went into, like, I think it was like a Walmart or something, and got some stupid board, and that the rest is history. So we got our foundation through how to skateboard. And then we realized that entertaining while educating is going to tenfold our presence.
And where do you see, like, I guess, format going with the likes of TikTok, and kind of what's going to be after that? Are you guys sort of looking at like different, like shorter style videos now, and or are you still kind of having that long form as well for YouTube? And
believe it or not, in the last couple of weeks, I've actually I'm going to spend 80% of my days on vertical videos.
Oh, really?
So we're going to really get serious about our vertical strategy. If you really look at the trends of what's happening on TikTok and Instagram Reels, and Facebook just came out with Reels, Facebook Reels now. And I mean, if you just look, and YouTube Shorts, last October, I tested a channel called Braille Shorts. Now it's called Braille Shop. But anyways, we have 41 million views in a year, all organic. And I only shouted out from the
Wow.
main Braille channel like 4 times. So like we have 41 million views on short videos in a year. 50,000 subscribers. 90% of people with shorts don't actually subscribe to your YouTube channel at all. So we're going to take that to the next level. But ultimately, I do believe in just having 2 daughters, watching how they consume media, that vertical video is the future and present. People are always going to watch long form content, but I mean, YouTube shorts are getting like 5 billion views a day or 7 billion views a day on YouTube. Like people don't even think about how much consumption is happening. So there's definitely a shift from long form content to, wow, that was a peacock right outside my door. So anyways, my point is vertical video, we're going all in, we're going to go strong. And don't forget about things like Pinterest and, you know, weird platforms you may not consider because they drive a lot of views and engagement.
And do you think the strategy is still then to be across like as many of these platforms as you can, like to be across all of them? Or would you sort of advise, I don't know, if there's kind of like brands or people that are listening that, you know, if they're going to focus on one, pick one that they're comfortable with maybe, or what do you think?
So I have 2 answers to this question. I know it probably doesn't help people, but it is what it is. So on one thing, video creators really need to think of themselves as business owners and not like YouTubers or TikTokers. Because when you get into that mentality, it's a losing mentality every time. I have so many friends and past clients that have gone away with the wind, you know, get a strike and boom, they're making $1 million a month and now they make 0. If YouTube kicked us off of YouTube tomorrow, we would still be a business. Because we've diversified our risk to that point. We teach people how to skateboard and want to spread skateboarding across the world. That is our product. That's what we do. We teach it. We entertain people. We have skateboards you can buy. We have skateboard shoes and video games. So we've really embraced our one superpower, and that is entertaining and educating people on skateboarding. And that is our company. That is our brand. When people start getting fixated on a platform, they completely miss everything. Know your superpower, know what you're delivering every day, and then deliver it. Artist uses ink, pens, chalk, you know, paintbrushes. They don't have like some type of, I only use pencils, you know, like that. I mean, there's artists that only use pencils, but my point is if you paint yourself in a box and you don't think of your video content as an actual business, then you're just going to fail. An example is Roger Wakefield is a guy I started working with about 3 years ago. He has 400,000 subscribers on YouTube now. He's a plumber. He's getting 6-figure brand deals. Awesome. 6-figure brand deals to make a video for our brand. He's a plumber. And it doesn't really matter what you do. You just have to be the best at what you do and deliver that one thing. Where people really fail, especially on TikTok and YouTube, is they just try to be everything. Now, if you're a personality, if you're like a rock star or a rapper, then that's fine. You can talk about Disney one day, and because
you've already got that built-in audience of people following.
They're invested in you as a person. But 99% of the world will never have that. So, for example, I'm a huge gardener. I'm going to start a gardening channel, and it's just going to be specifically for beginner gardeners, and I'll make content around that only. So that's the biggest advice I'd have is definitely start with one platform. I would advise people to start with TikTok and Instagram Reels, not YouTube, because YouTube's way harder.
And would you say that because it's older and there's more competition, or I mean probably not now.
To make a video that's watchable for 8 minutes, that takes years to hone in, honestly, for most people. To take a 15-second video, make it watchable and clickable, that takes minutes to figure out. So that's my biggest advice. Is it's like a gateway drug to being able to make longer form content.
Yeah. Nice. And what's the best way for people to follow what you're up to and kind of see, everything that you guys are working on?
Yeah, I mean, just Braille Skateboarding on all the things. YouTube is our biggest platform by far, but we're about to hit 1 million on TikTok and Instagram as well, 1 million followers. BrailleSkateboarding.com, you can see all the things we do. And yeah, that's where you guys can find us.
Nice. Jeremy, thanks so much for your time, man. It's been really interesting hearing all the developments and everything that you guys are doing. And yeah, we look forward to seeing the next phase and seeing how it's all going to go.
Awesome. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Thanks, man.